It was late autumn when Claire and David reached the end of the dirt road that cut through the Arkansas countryside like a forgotten scar. The sun, already swallowed by the horizon, left a coppery trail over the abandoned fields. The dry vegetation swayed in the wind, and the dust hanging in the air seemed to never settle. The house was there, silent, motionless, as if it had been waiting for them. An old structure, with dark wood, slanted roof, and a collapsed porch, rose like a shadow. The windows, broken and covered in soot, looked like eyes peering through time. There was a presence there, not of someone, but of something. Claire parked the car on what remained of a stone driveway. The engine shut off, but the silence that followed felt deeper than the sound that had ended. Claire got out first. She held a folded envelope, the papers from the inheritance. Uncle Howard's inheritance, a property no one had mentioned for decades. David hesitated before getting out. His eyes locked onto the house, uneasy.
Claire, are you sure this is the place?
She didn't answer right away. She just stared at the house and slowly nodded.
The GPS stopped working 5 minutes ago. There's no road beyond this, and the address matches. This is it.
The two walked through the tall grass, which whispered beneath their steps. The front gate had collapsed. The fences were swallowed by moss, and in the yard, among the weeds, was an old, rusted toy track, still with a little cart tipped over on the ground. A child's toy, forgotten by time. As they climbed the porch steps, the boards creaked in protest. Claire pulled the key from her pocket and slipped it into the door's lock. The wood responded with a dry snap, slowly opening with a long creak. Like a sigh of relief, the interior was drowned in darkness. A strong smell of wet wood, mold, and something sweet, maybe dead flowers, filled the air. Claire turned on her flashlight. The beam flickered, revealing furniture draped in dust-stained sheets. There were paintings on the walls, but all the faces had been scratched out or painted over. A piano sat in the corner, open, its keys yellowed. Above the fireplace, an oval mirror, dusty but still intact, reflected their distorted, elongated shadows. David ran his fingers across an old cabinet and showed Claire the dust it had collected.
No one's been here for decades.
She nodded, but her eyes were fixed on something else. At the far end of the room stood a grandfather clock, enormous, dark, silent, but not entirely. The pendulum was moving on its own, and the ticking, slow, persistent, filled the room as if it came from the heart of the house. Claire stepped closer, hypnotized. The dial read 11:33. She touched the glass. It was warm. The clock wasn't broken. It was running.
That's impossible,
she whispered. David, uneasy, turned on another flashlight and started exploring the room next door. Old photographs covered part of a shelf. He blew the dust off one. It was a family. A man with a hat, a smiling woman, and 2 children, a boy and a girl with a ribbon in her hair. On the back of the photo, a date, October 15th, 1958. He called for Claire.
Look at this. It looks like Uncle Howard when he was young. And that little girl. Could it be Lily? Everything's dated 1958.
Claire carefully took the photo. The edges were damp, but the image was still clear. She turned the frame. There was a hand-carved inscription.
To freeze time, offer what you love.
She read it aloud and felt the temperature drop. That's when the upstairs doors all slammed shut at once. A dry, heavy sound, as if someone had closed them all. At once, Claire and David looked at each other. Neither of them said a word, but they knew. They weren't alone in that house. David, still uneasy, approached the mirror above the fireplace. He wiped part of the dust with his sleeve and froze. In the reflection, Claire stood beside him, but there was another figure behind them, tall, dark, faceless. David turned abruptly. Nothing there. The mirror now showed no one else.
Claire, I saw someone behind us, in the mirror.
It must have been just your warped reflection. This house distorts everything.
But Claire didn't seem so sure. They moved into a side room, an old study with tall bookshelves and a desk covered in papers. In the center of the desk, a leather-bound journal with a hand-drawn hourglass symbol on the cover. Claire opened it carefully. The pages were dry but legible. August 1958. Lily is getting worse. Elizabeth cries every night. I tried doctors, tried prayer. Now, only time remains. I found the old symbol in my grandfather's writings. They say it can halt the present. But there is a price I am willing to pay for her. Claire slowly closed the journal.
Howard wasn't trying to save the house. He was trying to save his daughter.
In the room next door, where the faded wallpaper still showed rabbits and children's balloons, a cloth doll sat perfectly upright in the center of the bed. Claire approached slowly.
Something's off here. Look at this doll. There's no dust on it, like someone's been cleaning it every day.
She picked up the doll. As she lifted it, a metallic object fell to the floor with a dull clink. It was an old pocket watch, silver, with a small hourglass engraved on the cover. Claire picked it up, opened it carefully, and held her breath. The dial was frozen at 3:33.
That's symbolic. The dead hour, the moment between worlds.
David looked around, restless.
Claire, let's go. This is getting out of hand.
But Claire seemed locked onto that object, as if the watch still pulsed, as if it was still counting something. That's when they heard it. A giggle, soft, high-pitched, a child's. It came from the mirror. They both looked, and there she was, Lily, pale, standing on the other side of the glass, with sunken eyes, and the same bow in her hair from the old photo. Claire stepped closer, silently. She placed her hand on the mirror. Lily did the same, but Lily wasn't smiling. She whispered, too low to understand, but loud enough to chill them to the bone. David pulled Claire away.
We have to get out of here, now.
But the house didn't want to let them go. In the kitchen, beneath a moldy rug, David found a wooden trapdoor hidden in the floor.
Claire, I think we just found where it all started.
Claire knelt, pulled the rusty handle, and opened the lid. A rotten smell rose from the depths. It wasn't just mold. It was iron, damp earth, and something else. Something ancient. With flashlights in hand, they descended the old wooden stairs. The air grew colder with every step. The basement was damp. The stone walls were covered in markings, drawings, circular symbols, hourglasses' names, scratched in dried blood. In the center, an improvised altar, melted candles, bones, an open Bible with pages torn out, and leaning against the wall, another mirror, with a vertical crack running down the center. Claire stepped closer. In the reflection, she saw herself, but older, much older, sunken eyes, gray hair. She screamed and stepped back. The reflection vanished, but the fear remained. David was examining the altar. He found a second journal. It belonged to Howard. Tonight, at 3:33, time will be suspended. Kronos will come. I offer my time, my soul, my bloodline, for my daughter's life. Claire dropped to her knees.
He sacrificed everything for her and left this curse for us to inherit.
The pocket watch began to vibrate in her pocket. Claire pulled it out. It had changed. Now it read 3:32, and outside, though it was night, the sky was brightening. But it wasn't dawn. It was the moment of the ritual. The mirror glowed red. The candles relit on their own, and then a silhouette formed, tall, hooded, with long arms, and clock hands spinning where hands should be. It was him. Kronos' time had arrived. Kronos hovered at the center of the basement, his presence so heavy it seemed to bend the very air around him. He had no face, just a dark, floating cloak, with a void where his chest should be. From his arms, clock hands spun endlessly. His voice echoed without sound, a whisper that touched the mind, not the ears.
Time that demands its price.
Henry appeared in the mirror's reflection, afraid, aged, in tears.
I gave everything. Take me. Save Lily.
Kronos didn't respond. He just pointed at Claire. She volunteered. David stepped in between them.
No, this isn't fair. We didn't even know about this cursed pact.
Kronos simply raised his arms. The grandfather clock upstairs chimed. D-O-N-G. Dong. 3:33. 3:33. Everything stopped. The candle froze mid-flicker. The dust hung motionless. Not even the wind moved. Claire stepped forward.
If balance is needed, then take me, but free Lily.
Kronos tilted his head, as if considering. That's when the voice echoed. Soft, fragile.
It doesn't have to be this way.
Lily appeared in the mirror, now smiling. She held the teddy bear. She was at peace.
It's done. Time. Let me go.
Kronos stepped back. The mirror shattered into 1,000 pieces. The darkness dissolved like smoke. The pendulum clock froze. The candles blew out. The basement fell silent. But this time, it was a peaceful silence. Claire opened her eyes. They were in the yard. The sun was rising. The car parked. David beside her, the pocket watch. Read 6 o'clock on the porch of the house for a moment. They saw Lily waving, and then she vanished with the morning breeze. The cycle had been broken, but time never forgets.